What's up, everyone? I just saw It Chapter 2. I was a really big fan of the first movie. I thought that Bill Skarsgård did amazing and that it was a really shockingly fun kind of 80s coming-of-age / horror movie, which all of those things are just great to me. I had a great time with the first one, so I was really excited for this one. And of course, this movie was just so hyped. I think it's fair to say that everybody was very excited for Chapter 2 to come out, especially because of the cast. I mean, Jessica Chastain and James McAvoy, Bill Hader, those three in particular, I was very, very excited for and was glad to hear that they were brought on for this project. But enough of the build-up. What did I think about Chapter 2? Well, it was a roller coaster. And unfortunately, I do not mean that in a great way. Personally, for me, I thought the movie started off really strong. From the first few minutes of introducing all these new characters, these adult versions of these characters that we've come to know, I thought that was really great. There was a lot of humor in there. I was interested in them, and I was thinking, all right, I already like this movie. I am so ready to love it more. And then it kind of lagged, and then it kind of dipped into, oh, this is really lagging. This needs to pick up. To, oh, it's redeeming itself. This is good. Okay, everything's gonna end up okay. To, it's just imploding. But before I get into all that, let's just start with some things that I liked about this movie. Horrifying visuals in this. It was the kind of stuff that really gets under your skin, makes your spine tingle. So that I loved. I thought all the performances were incredible. And that's not to say that I didn't think that there were some characters that weren't given much to do, but the performances you can't touch because every one of these people is just, they're amazing. And lastly, I also think that there were some really good ideas that were brought up into this film, and there's just endless potential for what this movie could have been. That kind of ties into what I did not like about this movie. Holy crap, there was a lot going on. It seems way more unfocused. At its core, I really believe it was a story about trauma and how you get over traumas from your childhood and what those different kinds of childhood traumas can look like. It's trying to do way too many things, and it is long. My God, is it ever long? And I feel like around the 20-minute mark of the movie, when we're still going through all these separate traumas for each individual character, I was still feeling like, okay, the story hasn't really picked up yet. Like, we're touching back with all these things, these repressed memories that each character has about what happened in Derry when they were children. But it's just recap. And it's hard to feel that the story is actually moving forward in the present when we keep on having to interrupt the story to go back in time to see what happened in Derry to all these kids. But we're all here because we want to see what happened after that. And we want to see how these kids, now grown into adults, are going to deal with that. And they really take their time dealing with that. This movie needs some fat trimmed. It is a fatty, fat movie. It also doesn't help that this movie, upon reaching the climax, kind of feels like it ends about 5 times. There are multiple times where the climax is reached, the movie feels like it is closing, and then it bleeds into another scene. I counted 3 times that the entire audience, all of us as a collective, thought the movie was wrapping up, realized it wasn't, and sat back down. 3 instances of this. But really, as I was watching the movie, before it got to that end kind of part where I thought that it should be wrapping up, the time really wasn't bothering me that much. There was something else that was really starting to get on my nerves. The first thing that really started to irritate me and pose a problem to this scary movie that I was supposed to be terrified of was the tone. The jokes and humor and one-liners in this movie, while appreciated, really took me out. And I was a really big fan of the humor that was in the first one. I liked kind of the jarring music that happened sometimes, and, it almost seemed like a little wink at the camera. But unfortunately, I think that Chapter 2 oversteps a bit, and it comes off like it's trying to be, honestly, I'd say a comedy first and a scary movie second. It almost got to a point where James McAvoy's and Jessica Chastain's character felt like they were in a completely different movie. Like, those two were in an actual serious movie about trauma and horror, and we're horrified. And then there was another couple characters that felt like they were at a Deadpool. Jessica Chastain, by the way, not given a lot to do in this movie. And that's another thing that the humor did that felt a little odd for me, is that at the end, this tries to be a very powerful message about friendship. But there's just a good chunk of the movie where the humor feels very goofy, and the tone is just so confused. Which is why I have to give It Chapter 2 this rating. I think what really tipped it over the edge for me was the fact that I don't really know what this movie is saying at the end. The way this movie puts some incidents in a certain light, it just opens the gates for some really messed up, warped interpretations. You could glean that bullying is the answer. If you're in an abusive relationship, all you have to do is look for a man that will truly love you. Suicide is fine as long as it's a selfless act. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching my review of It Chapter 2. You can look forward to more of these reviews, and if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.